Winning is fun, but it's hard to do, even more so on the road. But when you travel across the country, odds makers against you, coming off a loss, and then flip that script, earn your second victory of the year, and go into homecoming week with momentum, that is a sweet feeling. Good vibes all around. After a Saturday night in Las Cruces, the Panthers of FIU now 2-2 heading into homecoming weekend against UConn. Always great to have you with us on FIU Panther Talk. Head coach Mike MacIntyre. I'm AJ Ricketts. Boy, what a fun night in New Mexico this past weekend. A huge win for the team heading into the UConn game. So much to go over and analyze, but in the initial thoughts, looking at the tape, what stood out to you most from that victory on Saturday?
I think what stood out to me is the kids' fight.
Yeah.
Overcoming the week before, which was basically a nightmare, and then they come out and keep playing and keep fighting. During the week of preparation, I could see us getting better, which I've been seeing that each week. To be honest with you, how they keep competing and keep fighting and keep learning and keep striving, and then to go out there and play as hard as they did and what they did was really impressive, I thought.
Yeah, to that point, I think it's easier said than done to say next play, next game, on to the next one, particularly after the humbling effort in Bowling Green. Did you sense that any sort of carryover from that game, or was the energy right back to where you wanted it Monday, Tuesday? What was the vibe, and how hard was that to say, hey, on to New Mexico State?
Right.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We went over things from the game, and then wanted them to learn from it and the mistakes we made. And then, because teams just kind of copy different things that hurt you, offensively and defensively, special teams wise also. And they did, get back to work on Monday, keep progressing, keep pushing. I saw that. What I was hoping is when the lights came on and the actual thing, and again, the game didn't start out as good as we had liked right at first, and then we kind of clicked it into gear. And I think after we got that first touchdown, you could just see them all go. They were excited, but it was also like, yes! It was kind of like, and then it just took off from there. And, we would have liked to have had a couple more points. We had chances to, but the things to me was the defense after the week before, improving as much as they did. Western Kentucky's offense is a little better than New Mexico State's, but New Mexico State had scored 48 points the week before.
Ran for 340 yards.
And so, so they've done a good job with that in their running game. And so the way we fit up the run, the way the kids handled that was excellent. And then special teams was good again and solid. And then the thing I was so excited about was to get the ball with 7 minutes to go in the game. And we kept it, and they never got it back.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And that was impressive to see when the first three games you wouldn't have said we could run the ball 10 feet, and we were able to do that. And, our offensive line played better. They're growing up. Coach Austin did a great job with them. Coach Yost did. We changed up a few of our runs a little bit to try to help us where we were having problems. And then we're able to get Grayson was able to read it a little bit better and pulled it some, which really put a lot of pressure on him. So I thought that was good. And then we threw and caught the ball well.
I want to expand more on that offensive line. It's 3.6 yards per carry this week. And you talk about getting some pieces back. We didn't think Lindell Hudson was going to play at that right tackle spot. Been nicked up a little bit, and all of a sudden we see him taking warm-ups. All right, we're gonna have Lindell out there. And you mentioned the first drive wasn't ideal. Quick little 3 and out. I was like, uh-oh. Second drive on.
Right.
The push of that offensive line certainly stood out. How impressive was that? Some gutsy performances. Julius Pierce was back on the line as well. Just to have some guys gritting out and helping the running backs, and Grayson averaged 3.6 yards per carry.
Right. We had more push. We had kind of all of our guys back, so to speak, and that was nice. Coach Austin's done a great job of coaching those guys and keep maturing them and keep working with them, and you're seeing that. So I thought that was good. You're right. We had more push. With the running backs hit it down with more velocity downhill and ran into some things, and then we were able to get the ball out on the edge some, and then I think Grayson reading the dive read system on the different things we do, when he's able to read it and pull it, then that really puts a bind on the backers, the safeties, and the ends. They can't just force in on the running back. And so that was important for us to be able to do.
Yeah, that was a great wrinkle from offensive coordinator David Yost. Grayson ended up running 18 times. His net was 43, but tackles for loss take away from that. 18 carries for 61 yards, the running totals for him. And he was making great decisions. He's a young player still. How impressive was Grayson executing that game plan?
I thought Grayson did an excellent job. And, the more he plays, the more comfortable he gets, the better he's doing. He has a lot of great tools. He's big. I don't think people realize he's almost 240 pounds. He's
tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's athletic. He can throw it. So I've been pleased with how Grayson, the more he plays, the more he'll keep improving.
In the receiving game, had 8 wide receivers with the catch. Chambers had 6. Jalen Bracey had a pair of them. One for an incredible touchdown. We posted a screenshot recently. There, I think 7 maroon jerseys surrounding him, and he was still at the 22-yard line.
Right.
It's like, how did this guy get in the end zone? It was his first touchdown as an FIU Panther. He was just at the press conference. He said, sometimes I can't believe I'm here playing football in Florida. Less than 12 months ago, it was Mississippi Gulf Coast. How cool is his story right now, and what has allowed him to be successful so far?
Yeah, his story is amazing. Jay McIntyre had recruited him when he was at UT Martin, and the kid came to UT Martin and stayed for 1 semester and then went back to Gulf Coast Junior College. And then when we got the job, I knew how good he was, and Jay recruited him again. We got him here, and he's a heck of an athlete, really explosive, fun-loving kid. When I was watching him from the sidelines, it's like he's on a surfboard. The way I saw it, he kind of went in the thing, and the wave kind of came over him. And then all of a sudden, he popped out of the backside.
He's going to score.
How did he score? And Josiah made a phenomenal block. Josiah took a guy and drove him and threw him into another guy, and that's kind of made him tumble and gave him a chance to pop outside. And it was great vision on the part of Jalen.
Yeah, a great block from Josiah. Tyrese had a nice block on the outside of that edge to start that play as well. Let's flip the sides here, talk about the defense a little bit. Finished with 4 tackles for loss, and I think the tone was set early. New Mexico State ran a reverse play early in that game. Jamal Potts sealed the edge, made sure that wouldn't get to the outside. It was only a 2-yard gain on a trick play that could have gone for a lot more. And then throughout the rest of the game, you had Ty Danzy getting incredible push along the edge, which led to a tackle for loss. Gathan Bernadelle was everywhere. Demetrius Hill ended up tying for the team lead in tackles. Just all around, whether it was DBs, D-line, or your typically reliable linebacker core, really impressive performance all around.
Yeah, they did a great job of using their eyes, fitting all the runs, and when you're at the game, all the different motions they were doing, and they'd have the 2 backs in the backfield and all the option type stuff. It's really important how you play that and do that. The D-line did a great job of holding their gaps consistently, and the linebackers fitting them in the secondary, rotating for quarterback and pitch, and handling all the fly sweep stuff they were doing. And then they tried some different trickery in the passing game, and our kids were right there and were able to knock the ball down and do some different things. I think there was an interference call that interference calls can go either way sometimes. There was one of them that on that one drive they scored on. If they don't make that call, which they definitely couldn't have not, because it's just the way it's one of those kind that you just can't tell. And if they don't have that, they might not score in the game. So that's how well they played.
Yeah.
But to shut them out in the second half, after last week, I thought was just an unbelievable character gut check for the coaches and the defensive staff and the defensive players.
Javonte O'Neal had his first tackle for loss as a Panther as well. And to Coach's point, I thought it was huge. The final possession of the first half, the defense goes and makes a stop, and then we kick off to start the second half, and they shut them down there as well. 2 really big sequences to ensure, hey, the defense is in charge here, and a big part of that 21-7 victory. Coach, in that post-game locker room, as you see footage of it here now, just the release of emotion from everybody. I like how you calmed it down for a little bit, and then everybody got fired up. I mean, what was that scene? It's been a minute for you since that last FBS win, and certainly for FIU since 2019. Got to say no more talking about that.
Right.
We can put that away. Last road win, don't talk about that anymore. How exhilarating was that moment in the locker room with everybody?
Well, just to see the joy and happiness on the kids' faces, all the coaches' faces, and then honestly, all of y'all around the program. I mean, y'all were beaming. I mean, y'all have been through a lot, and to see that was really gratifying to me. And I just wanted to thank the kids and the other coaches and everybody to just keep trusting. And, you know, that's in our world we live in now, everybody wants it, and you can't fix, it's not instant grits. You can't just add hot water and turn it up and you have a program. We've made a stride in the right direction. We have a long way to go, but that was a huge stride concerning to me what happened the weekend before. Probably all the noise the kids were hearing, and they blocked it out and went and did that, was, I think, impressive, and excited for them. And then now take it and build on it. And the thing you have to do is you have to learn from your mistakes in that game and then go forward. Today's practice was a good practice.
As fun as it is for the vibes as you hop on that flight home after a road game, it's good to be back home. Coming up for homecoming this week. Let's talk a little bit about the UConn Huskies, this week's homecoming opponent. Last weekend, a big win against Fresno State, 19-14 the final score in that one. They finished with 183 yards on the ground. Devontae Houston with 105 of them. Key stat in that game, UConn 8 for 17 on third downs. Fresno was 0 for 9 on third and fourth downs. The quarterback spot, some South Florida football fans may be very familiar with this guy. Zion Turner was the starting quarterback at St. Thomas Aquinas, who's always chugging out future NFL players, led them to a 14-1 record. His senior season finished with 25 passing touchdowns, and over his career he went 37-2. So a homecoming of sorts for their quarterback. This is a UConn team trying to get on track as a program themselves. Coach, what have you seen on tape from UConn so far this season? What will be important this weekend against the Huskies?
Well, they're really a big football team. They play what I call big boy football. They got 2 tight ends out there, big offensive line, defensive line's big. Strong. So they're going to try to, like they've been doing, they're going to try to pound the rock, so to speak, and want to run it 50 some odd times and then take shots and do that type of thing. Zion's done a really good job as a freshman. Been impressed with what he's done, and of course saw him and knew him in St. Thomas Aquinas, and he knows how to win football games. And so that'd be a really tough contest for us Saturday. We're going to have to play extremely physical and be able to hold up against their size.
Great challenge, but a great opportunity this week. A win would mean 3-2 after 5 games, which is already a terrific turnaround after last year's campaign. Certainly looking forward to homecoming week. We had 4,000 plus students at the first home game.
Awesome.
So pack FIU Stadium. Hopefully see a great atmosphere after the fun tailgate at Tamiami. Come on into FIU Stadium. Let's have some fun. All right, one final look before we go here. Let's take one final look back at the top 5 plays from this past weekend's win against New Mexico State. Brought to you by Florida Lumber. We start things off. Hey, remember Pat McAfee's commercial back in the day? Punters are people too. Dayton Montiel, 63 yards, flipping the field. Coach, this was awesome.
Yes, it was. Dayton's had an excellent year. It was a great job by Volmar getting down there and downing it. I was excited for what Dayton's done for us. He's done a heck of a job.
Andrew was offside the play before that. He was the one to down it too. Nice of the redemption. How about the push here from Ty Danzig in the tackle for a loss? And that was representative of the entire game.
Right, it was a great push by Ty, the D-line, and everybody fitting it. They're running a little stretch play there. It was a great job by the defense.
Flex Joseph was all over the place. Didn't score here, but he nearly did. Breaking tackles, getting to the edge, and great blocking as well.
Right. I thought he was going to get in right here. They got him down. I thought he was too. Great blocking, and then see how he scoots, and then he's still graining down, and he just cuts on a dime and runs through arm tackles right and left.
We talked about him a few minutes ago. Jalen Bracey from Mississippi down to South Florida and scoring out in New Mexico. Look at all the maroon jerseys around.
Exactly right. He runs through there, and then he just bursts on the scene there and gets in the end zone. He's an excited youngster, and everybody's excited with him.
I think he's having fun with the T-shirt cannon.
Oh yeah,
after firing that into the stands.
He had fun with the T-shirt cannon.
It's not just for the defense when they get that turnover, score a touchdown.
So it's give me that turnover and give me that touchdown.
Fire the cannons away.
Exactly.
Top play, no doubt about it. Flex Joseph, he has so much speed. He showed it here and a little bit of elusiveness
right
as
there,
well.
Made that first guy miss, and then the 2 great blocks out there, Valdo and Fournay, and then they're off.
Close to 100 yards rushing for Flex Joseph, certainly over the century mark in all-purpose yards, and that capped 3 touchdowns for FIU in the 21-7 victory this past Saturday in Las Cruces as the club gets ready now for homecoming Saturday night against UConn. Coach, always appreciate the time. This last thing here, what are going to be some points of emphasis this week for the group, trying to make it 2 wins in a row here?
Well, we've got to play physical football. We got to stand up to their run game. We need to be able to run the ball. It's going to be one of those, I think, like an old-fashioned football game. It's going to be a lot of physicalness to it, and it's going to be exciting. Our kids are really excited about being back home to play over a month.
That's great,
and being homecoming, and they know they're expecting a really big crowd out there, so our kids are wanting to do really well. So it's going to be a heck of a college football game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Saturday night, ESPN3. If you can't make it, but hope to see you out at FIU Stadium as the Panthers take on UConn on homecoming weekend. Coach, had a lot of fun last week. Let's keep good vibes going. Appreciate the time.
We will. Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us on FIU Panther Talk. For Coach Mac, I'm AJ Ricketts. Pause up. We'll see you next time.